Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. Now, as the slugfest over the Waqf Amendment Bill rages on, the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly has passed a resolution against it. The resolution was moved by Chief Minister M.K. Stalin. Speaking in the State Assembly, the Chief Minister contended that the union government is trying to hinder the Waqf Boards' powers. He claimed that this shall hurt the sentiments of Muslims and that the centre is not bothered. Amidst all this, the BJP leader staged a walkout from the Assembly. The BJP maintains that an elected government at the centre has the power and authority to bring amendments to laws. The BJP has further slammed the DMK, stating that the opposition wants to divide people in the name of religion. What's interesting to note is that excluding the BJP, the principal opposition in Tamil Nadu, including the AIADMK, the CPI and other allies, supported Stalin's resolution. Now, the bill itself proposes over 40 changes to the 1995 Waqf Act, and it aims to reduce Waqf Boards' power to claim properties without verification. It also aims to streamline Waqf registration through a central database with notices and seeks to enhance transparency and ensure mandatory inclusion of women in Waqf Board. In fact, the union government approved the JPC report, which proposed 14 changes to the 2024 bill. So as the slugfest rages on, what's the road to reform is the big question. Let's start our conversation. Joining me on the telecast is Kausar Jahan, who is the Delhi Hajj Committee Chief. Thank you very much, Kausar Jahan, for joining me. And my first question to you about the situation as it stands today, while the Waqf Amendment Bill is to be tabled in the Parliament in the coming days, there is a ruckus in the Assembly in Tamil Nadu where a resolution has been passed led by Chief Minister M.K. Stalin against any amendment be brought to the Waqf Bill. How do you view this situation? Do you think amendments are required to this bill?
Well, yes, I think amendments are very much required, and this should have been done much earlier. But all right, it's not too late even now. And Waqf Amendment Act is not an attack on the religious institutions. Again, I repeat, it is not an attack on the religious institutions, but a necessary measure to uphold fairness and justice.
Okay. And what do you think are the problems that are maligning the current Waqf law as to speak?
I'm sorry, could you please repeat?
What are the problems according to you that are maligning the Waqf law at present without any changes made to it?
At present, you know what, the problem is that certain people have have authority, and the Waqf properties are, there's no proper identification, there are no proper records. On what basis can you say a particular property is a Waqf property? You can't just call any property a Waqf property, right? You have to have proper documentation, there has to be a proper procedure, and the authorities have to be involved.
What do you make of the lack of representation of women in the Waqf Board for the board that has continued to move forward for the last several decades?
Well, I think the inclusion of women and the representation of women in the Waqf Board is a very good step, and it's a major step towards women empowerment, which is a very important, I would say, which is the thinking of the present Modi government. And by including women, I think we will be able to keep major checks on the corruption and the malpractices. And yes, of course, and we can bring in a lot of new ideas.
Okay, do you think the representation of women in the Waqf Board will allow for a transparent process to move forward, as opposed to what you claim is a non-transparent, opaque system that has been in play, systematically plaguing the society?
Absolutely, yes, because right now there's a lot of corruption and malpractices. The situation of the Waqf Boards all over the country, like for example, let's talk about Delhi Waqf Board. How Delhi Waqf Board, you see what the situation is. The imams have not been paid their salary. All those poor women who are widows, who are promised a certain stipend, they haven't been given what they were promised. And the whole concept behind Waqf is to make sure that the underprivileged section of the society benefits. But this is not happening. So to make sure that all the Waqf properties or whatever the finances are, it benefits the underprivileged section of society for which the Waqf was made. I think this amendment is very important and necessary.
So why do you think there are certain sections of the society, the All India Muslim Personal Law Board, and we also see a number of political leaders, including Asaduddin Owaisi, including AIMIM leaders, including M.K. Stalin, AIADMK, all opposing any amendments be made to the bill?
Well, see, every time something good is done or something, a major step is being taken for the welfare of the community, of the Muslim community, I really don't understand why Mr. Owaisi and all the other opposition leaders, they have a problem. Don't they want the welfare of the community? If you genuinely want the welfare of the community, I think they should support this.
Okay, so the contention of the opposition leaders and some other members of the Muslim community is that this is this amendment, if made by the government of India in the Waqf Board bill, is antithetical to the very existence of Muslims in the country. The bill is anti-Muslim. What do you have to say to that?
Absolutely not. The bill is not anti-Muslim. How can you relate this thing to religion? This is my question.
Okay, all right. So,
right now, what the situation...
Yeah, go ahead.
Right now, presently, what the situation of the Waqf boards is, all the corruption and the malpractices, is this good? The whole concept of Waqf has changed. The reason why the Waqf boards were made was to make sure that the underprivileged or the not so privileged section of the Muslim community benefit. And that's not happening at all. Certain people, as you say, कुछ लोगों का कब्जा है और बस वो चीज़ों को अपने हिसाब से चला रहे हैं.
So why has the government of India waited up until now to actually raise the issue and propose amendments to the bill?
I'm sorry, can you please
Why
repeat?
has it taken the government of India to bring about an overhaul, or at least try to bring about an overhaul in the Waqf bill? It's been in practice for decades together. There were amendments made in 1954 and then 1995, further strengthening the Waqf board, and now it is a government under the BJP who has decided to bring about amendments to the bill on the basis of what it says is going to make it more transparent. Why has it taken the government this long? Why has it taken our policymakers to identify this problem and work upon it, and why has it taken it such a long time?
Well, on this, I think I would say, जितनी पुरानी गलतियां हैं, I think उन सब का सुधार करना आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी के ही भाग्य में लिखा हुआ है. So yes, I think that's the reason why I would say this is being done.
Okay.
And I think, yes, I do agree with you that this should be done. It should have been done earlier also, but it's okay. It's not too late even now.
Okay, all right. Ms. Kausar Jahan, thank you very much for joining me on the telecast and sharing your views on this subject. Let me also now allow me to introduce my other panelists and get them into the conversation as well. I have with me Vinita Hariharan, who's a political analyst. I have Tahira Hassan, who's an activist. I also have with me Athar Zia, who's an Impar panelist. Athar, I'm going to start my conversation with you. And let's try to understand from you about what do you make of this cacophony, the surround sound that we hear around the amendment that has been proposed by the Government of India on the Waqf Board bill.
Megha, there is one thing to understand, and lot of propaganda. There was a amendment in 1983 which strengthened the Waqf in the respect that its properties are not being encroached or taken by people. Now you see there are so many trusts like Sikh Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee, like Kashi Vishwanath Trust, like Tripurti Trust, like you have Kayas Trust in Allahabad and surrounding area, which manages lot of schools, lot of properties, universities, medical college. All of them are being created by the people who from their own earning, from own saving, gave these properties or assets for the welfare of the underprivileged, for humanity. Now, as far as Waqf, and all of them are managed and totally controlled by the own community leaders. Sixth, Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee has a budget which is much more than many of the states' budget. And they are managing it without any interference from the government, not a single iota. Now, what I suggest that the Waqf bill should be amended, or Waqf Act should be amended in respect of the transparency, the accountability, the auditing and accountability of a single penny which is generated by the Waqf property. And it has to be seen where it has been used, or it is just being used for the personal purpose, which is happening here. But the problem is now that what the community, and there is an element of fear that with the government interference, you know, there is a Kashi Vishwanath Trust, the government has made it, the bill, the government has enacted the rules and regulation in which they have stated the management of the trust will always with the Hindus. And there are 3-4 ex officio chairman and directors of that trust, which will be DM, which will be commissioner, which will be many government official. But they have to be Hindu. If suppose by mistake, if they are right now placed a non-Hindu, then the second in line will be the member.
But then is it the question? Is it a? I mean, do you think the primary concern of those who are opposing the amendment are concerned that whether it is going to be administration and management is going to be at the hands of Hindus or Muslims, or the larger issue particularly that we want to address here is transparency, as you rightfully put out. The fact that the Waqf Board at this point of time has accumulated properties to the worth of lakhs and crores of rupees. The fact that the third largest owner of properties in our country after the Indian Armed Forces is the Waqf Board. Do you think these changes have to be brought in, and the fact that they have not been, they have just been ignored or sidelined up until now is a great travesty?
Megha, you are asking me?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, actually, in between the audio was very unclear, so I got interrupted. I was saying just one thing, that the accountability and the accounting and auditing of the Waqf boards and all the Waqf assets should be assigned to a like CAG or Accountant General Office or any government body. But let the management of the Waqf be there with the people whose forefathers or who have been created that asset.
But you do agree that the board as such systematically has been corrupted, has become completely opaque. There have been people, the underprivileged, who needed to be provided support by the Waqf board. The very reason of its creation was to provide help and support to the underprivileged, and they themselves are not getting the support that they are seeking.
Yes, but that has to be ensured by the government. Government can make a regulation where it is ensured that all the income, all the asset of the Waqf is utilized for the benefit, for the welfare of the humanity and the underprivileged.
Okay.
But let it be managed by the people who have created it.
Okay. All right.
Let there be auditing. Let there be a annual, 3-quarterly total auditing, transparent scrutiny of the account, and everybody has to be accountable for single penny which is generated by the Waqf asset.
Okay.
That has to be ensured.
Okay, all right. Let me also get in Vinita Ariyaran on the telecast with me. Vinita, what are your views, especially to what Athar Zia has said, that let the management and administration continue to be at the hands of the Waqf board members? Why is there undue interference of the government when we have several other religious trusts and boards that are set up, whether it is in Sikhism or in Hinduism or any other religion, that are managed and controlled by these private entities?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on your show. So this is a very important and very, very game-changing kind of reform that has been brought in by the Modi government, yet another reform towards nation building. So if you see if you compare the Waqf board, to answer the precise question of, that was raised just now about Waqf versus the other trusts. But as you said, Mega Waqf has about 8 lakh acres of land, and, the largest land holding by any private religion, any religious, body is within the Waqf board. And it's not just about religious, it's going beyond religion. It's not against
but you combine all other trusts, they have much more than that. That is also a false.
But we cannot combine. We're talking about.
Let Vinita continue, and then I'll come back to you, Athar. I'll come back to you for a response.
So it's one of the largest land holding that we have, worth about, so many lakhs, so many crores of rupees it's worth. I mean, the value of the land. But it's not just about the value of the land, it's also about the purpose for which these lands are being donated by various people to the trust. It's for, as we said, it's for public purposes, it's for health, it's for education. So all these reforms are moving towards releasing this land for the purpose for which it was donated. So that is, it's in all fairness that it has been done. And also about all the progressive measures like the digitization of the land records, the geotagging of the properties. These are all very, very typically the Modi government's, kind of hallmark in digitization of land records, which he's been doing across board. It's not just for the Waqf board. It's about all properties in India is being geotagged, it's been digitized. I think it's high time that it's been done. It's been like, since the colonial times, we've not had a land records registered. We're still following archaic methods and archaic, rules and laws for land. But now land is being reformed. The entire rules and reforms around land, legislation around land is being reformed. And it's in that perspective also that this entire Waqf Amendment Bill has been brought. And also the gender inclusivity aspect, I think, is commendable, to bring in two women board members into the Waqf board. I think it will bring in a whole lot of difference in seeing that these properties are utilized for the benefit of women. So, and it's not just about any particular religion. It's about it's about reforming land, land records and the utilization of land in India. It's about releasing this land for the benefit of the public.
Okay, Tahira, I'll come to you. And what are your views on this entire controversial subject? Should it really have become controversial as our politicians have made it to be?
I think so, that I believe there is a corruption in Waqf board. I mean, I'm saying very clearly that there is corruption, but how this amendment is going to curb that corruption? Because earlier the survey commissioner that was appointed by the state government, He used to survey the properties and give the list to the government. Now the DM will do, who is overloaded already. So what change it is going to do? Women will be included. Good. It is a one step toward justice. But we have seen the women were in the Muslim Personal Law Board also. So what kind of progressive statements we have come across? It depends what kind of women are included and how they will take the progress. Actually, these lands are not mine and government. These lands were given by the Muslim community out of their will to the Waqf Board to use that land and the property for upliftment of the marginalized class people, Hashiya ka Samaj, for them. And they are supposed to look after dargah, imambadas, school, colleges, musafir khana, orphanage, and look after the education of the orphan children. These are their duties, their responsibilities, which they are supposed to fulfill. If they are not fulfilling it, fix the accountability. This is the only way you can curb the corruption. 1976, it is on the net. Nothing, it's a hidden. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, that time Prime Minister Indira Gandhi had written to all Chief Minister of the India that please, whatever the land has been encroached of the Waqf Board by the government offices or by the private parties, please vacate it and give it back to them. Most of their lands are getting rent, they are getting very low rents and all. So naturally the revenue is not generating. And most of the people who are elected as a chairman or member of the Waqf Board, who elect them? We elect them. Government elect them. So government must fix the accountability. If they are just doing everything for their benefit, they are earning money, they are minting money. I'm saying there is a corruption. Again, I will repeat.
Okay. So then, Taira. Yeah, okay. So then Javed Ahmed, let me hear it from you. Javed Ahmed is a chairperson of the Waqf Welfare Forum. Javed Ahmed जी, तो आपके हिसाब से क्या सोल्यूशन होना चाहिए? क्या ये अगर अमेंडमेंट बिल पास हो जाता है पार्लियामेंट में, क्या इसके कारण करप्शन खत्म हो जाएगा, ट्रांसपेरेंसी बढ़ेगी, विमेन एम्पावरमेंट, विमेन इंक्लूसिविटी को चांस मिलेगा? क्या ये सब सॉल्यूशंस फाइनली प्रॉब्लम को रिजॉल्व कर पाएंगे कि नहीं?
मैम बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. You had added me to attribute information through the Waqf. I am from the Waqf Welfare Forum, the trust who have been working extensive throughout the country, and I have collected different set of data. इसके 3 सेगमेंट हैं मैम. आप अगर मुझे अलाउ करें उर्दू हिंदी बोलने के लिए तो आई विल बेटर एक्सप्लेन टू यू.
यस सर.
इसका एक पॉलिटिकल एस्पेक्ट है, दूसरा इसका जो है जो इसकी गुड इनिशिएटिव है, और तीसरा जो है करप्शन से रिलेटेड है. तो गवर्नमेंट की जो नैरेटिव है, गवर्नमेंट एक पॉलिटिकल माइंडसेट से लेके आई है जिसके 3 सेगमेंट है. आप मुझे 30 सेकंड चाहिए मैम. आई कैन स्पीक वेरी फेयरली इन टर्म्स ऑफ.
यस सर, गो अहेड. यस, क्विकली.
पहला इनिशिएटिव है कि सरकार ये कहती है कि ये 1995 एक्ट के बाद पहले 1994 पहले मुस्लिम वक्फ एक्ट होता था, अब ये वक्फ एक्ट हो गया. फिर ये 1995 में वक्फ एक्ट रहा. अब ये 2024 के वक्फ एक्ट अमेंडमेंट जो है ये बिकम उम्मीद. अब इसको आने वाली नस्लें वक्फ नहीं पढ़ेंगी. दिस इज द इंटेंशन एंड पॉलिटिकल मोटिवेशन बिहाइंड द change the name. Secondly, the 5-year-old Muslim can create the waqf and manage the waqf. This is the highly hypothetical and how it can be interpreted. और कैसे सर्टिफिकेट देगा, who will assign, who will certify कि 5 साल का मुसलमान है कि 10 साल का है. तीसरी चीज, लिमिटेशन एक्ट किसी भी धर्मार्थ में अभी तक पूरे देश में जितने सिख या हिंदू इंडोमेंट है या चैरिटी है उसमें किसी में लिमिटेशन एक्ट नहीं लगाया गया. इसमें पहली बार लिमिटेशन एक्ट लगाएंगे जिसका एक बहुत बड़ा इंपैक्ट होगा. मिसाल के तौर पे कोई भी इलीगल इंक्रोचर है, वो सरकारी या प्राइवेट हो सकता है, और वो अपनी दावा ओनरशिप का साबित कर सकता है. अगर क्लेम नहीं कर पाया, जो मुतवल्ली है कि वक्फ है, डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं दे पाया, जैसे वक्फनामा नहीं दे पाया, और बहुत कदीम है, प्राचीन है, तो ये उसकी ओनरशिप हो जाएगी और जस्ट गिव 50,000 रुपीज टू गेट द फ्री एंड बिकम द ओनर। जैसे मिसाल के तौर पे मुकेश अंबानी दुनिया के अमीर इंसान हैं, लेकिन उनकी जो एंटीलियो है वो बनी है वक्फ के यतीम खाने पे। अगर इस बिल से उनको डायरेक्ट फायदा हो रहा है, किसको किसको फायदा हो रहा है? असदुद्दीन ओवैसी को फायदा हो रहा है। 3,000 करोड़ की संपत्तियों पे उनका अधिकार है। जब ये बिल पास होगा तो लिमिटेशन एक्ट लगेगा। महमूद मदनी, उमर इलियासी और तमाम ऐसे लोग हैं जिन्होंने बेइंतहा वक्फ की संपत्तियों को एकाधिकार कब्जा किया है, इनको लिमिटेशन एक्ट का फायदा होने जा रहा है। इंक्रोचमेंट जो है इस पूरे अमेंडमेंट एक्ट में उसको स्ट्रेंथनिंग नहीं किया गया है, यानी उसके एक्ट को मजबूत नहीं बनाया गया है। आपको जानकारी के मुताबिक जो हमारे वामसिक पोर्टल पे है, तकरीबन 50,000 वक्फ संपत्तियां जो हैं पूरे मुल्क में सरकार या प्राइवेट ने कब्जा किया है, जिसको खाली कराने के लिए एक अच्छे और स्मार्ट कानून की जरूरत थी। अब मैं बताता हूं इसमें किसके नुकसान क्या होंगे। मैं इस बिल के आने के लिए सिर्फ 2 लाइन में बताना चाहूंगा। दिल्ली, उत्तर प्रदेश, बिहार में और वेस्ट बंगाल में तकरीबन 70% वक्फ संपत्तियां हैं पूरे देश की। यानी जैसा वामसी कहता है कि 8,75,000 वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी हैं पूरे देश में जो रजिस्टर्ड हैं। मैडम, जैसे ये कानून लागू होगा तो इस कानून के लिए एक सॉफ्टवेयर बनाया जाएगा। उस सॉफ्टवेयर में 6 महीने का टाइम दिया जाएगा और वो सॉफ्टवेयर में एंट्री करने के लिए आपके पास 3 डॉक्यूमेंट होना चाहिए। वक्फ रजिस्टर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट होना चाहिए या रेवेन्यू ओनर डॉक्यूमेंट होना चाहिए, यानी रेवेन्यू बोर्ड में आपका रजिस्टर्ड होना चाहिए। तीसरा वक्फ बाय यूजर है, जिसकी तादाद बहुत ज्यादा है। ये कानून ये कहता है कि वक्फ बाय यूजर के लिए भी डॉक्यूमेंट चाहिए। पूरे मुल्क में जितने धर्मार्थ हैं, टेम्पल यूजर, सिख यूजर, पारसी यूजर, सभी को इस बात की इजाजत है कि अपने मजहब की प्रैक्टिस के लिए वो अपने किसी भी जमीन सरकारी या प्राइवेट में कदीम इस्तेमाल है तो किया जा सकता है। मैम, नुकसान होगा आंकड़ों में। दिल्ली की 123 वक्फ प्रॉपर्टी नल एंड वाइड हो जाएंगी, जिसकी लड़ाई कोर्ट में चल रही है।
यहाँ पे जब आप बात कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पे इतने सारे करप्शन चार्जेस से नहीं जूझी है कोई और ट्रस्ट या कोई और बोर्ड, चाहे वो सिखिज्म को बात कर ले, हिंदुइज्म को बात कर ले, पारसी को बात कर ले। ये पहला जो प्रश्न उठता है, जो कि it's lakhs and crores of rupees worth of properties, a number of them that have been usurped, they have been forcefully taken control of by a handful of those Waqf board members who have continued to appoint themselves as the leaders, as the custodians of the Muslim faith. Their appointments are being brought to question. There are no elections that take place. How is it that the underprivileged continue to remain underprivileged is the biggest question. How is it that the poor who need to be actually brought forth for their empowerment, for their development, for their welfare have been completely sidelined, and the coffers of a handful of the few people who are in control of the system continue to become richer and continue to prosper. That's the concern that has been the focal point of this conversation, has been touched upon by every single individual who has been part of this conversation with me in this discussion. Whether the amendment bill is going to bring about this change, how transformative it will be if it is passed, is a question that we need to answer. It's a question that we need to find an answer for. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast, and thanks for watching NewsX.